So, Mark, what's your reaction to the Antonio Brown situation?
You know, I was concerned for him. I mean, he's certainly, it seems as though he's got some serious issues. And, I think sometimes you're lighthearted about some of the idiot things that guys do. And I think as a teammate, there's always that one or two guys that you have on your team that's the village idiot, but he's our village idiot, and we want to take care of him. This goes beyond a guy, being quirky or a guy being whatever. This seems like he's got some serious mental issues going on. So I feel like Tom Brady, man. I just got to the point where I'm like, there's something wrong with this guy. And I hope he gets the help that he needs. I hope people that love him reach out to him and get him whatever help he needs, because there's something seriously seems seriously off with Antonio Brown. So that was just kind of my reaction, seeing that whole thing go down.
I think there's a difference between character and mistakes. We all make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. And the difference is when we make a mistake that hurts someone else and we are continuously doing that, then as adults, as grown-ups, we take a moment to address ourselves. And if it's that serious, we will then go and get help. And sometimes, to your point, Mark, we need people around us to say, hey, you're messing up. You should probably talk to someone. You're being self-destructive. You're doing things to hurt other people, and you need to address that. But Antonio Brown has had a long history of not just messing up, not just making mistakes, but harming other people around him, taking advantage of situations. We all know what Tom Brady did to get him not just back in the league, but on this team and steady. He really put himself out there for him. And we know what he was accused of leading into this team. And this is why when he came back from suspension and Bruce Arians said he's going to still be on the team, even though we drew a line in the sand, that this was a potential thing to happen. Because when you hit rock bottom and you have no other options, and someone gives you an opportunity and tells you very clearly, this is your only opportunity, there are no mistakes, and then you make a mistake and they give you another opportunity, well, I have all the leverage again. I can behave however it is that I want to. I think we can all agree that Antonio Brown needs to talk to someone. This is not normal behavior. If Bruce Arians said get out, he certainly didn't mean take off your uniform and run out in the middle of the field during the game. I'm going to side that with Bruce Arians did not mean that when he said get out. We all know what Bruce Arians meant. At the end of the day, we can all agree this is not normal behavior. He does need to speak to someone, but this is a pattern of behavior that has existed for multiple years, multiple organizations, multiple high-level respected coaches, structure, places that have a lot of structure in the Steelers, and here with Bruce Arians and Tom Brady. Like, this is not a situation where, okay, it's kind of dysfunctional. Someone who needs a lot of structure might not do well here. They just won a Super Bowl. This is Tom Brady, the greatest to ever play, and he stuck his neck out for you. Bruce Arians has a lot of credibility in this league. This is a situation that he is constantly finding himself in. At one point or another, we have to believe that this is a part of his character. I'm all for getting people help, but you have to help yourself.
Joy, I totally agree. And I think there's a distinction between character and mental health issues. And I don't know where this falls with Antonio Brown. But to be clear, Bruce Arians has a hand in this, because he was the one who said there are no second chances. This is it coming in. And then we had the fake vaccination card, I believe the first fake vaccination card submitted by Antonio Brown. And it was, well, we're moving on. Circumstantial, conditional, second chances. But this has been a pattern of behavior going back to his Steelers days. He was the first to stream a Facebook Live streaming from the locker room. He was the first to post a letter fining him from his GM, Mike Mayock. He's the first to post an audio of a private conversation with his head coach, John Gruden. So he's the first to post his request for a release on Instagram. These, to me, are not necessarily mental health issues. These are immature, incredibly selfish, self-centered issues. And Antonio Brown, because of his talent, has been enabled to continue to be selfish and self-centered by a variety of teams to this point. So the struggle that I have, Mark, and you brought it up, is that he needs help. And maybe he does. But I don't know whether it's help in terms of mental health or it's help in growing up. And in either case, he has to decide, I don't feel like I'm living the life that I should be living. I need to go get help. And certainly there have been enough incidents to happen to this point that if Antonio Brown was interested in doing that, I dare say there are people that would have been willing to help him.
Well, I think he's had those people. I think Tom Brady is one of those guys for him. I think he's had plenty of people that have reached out. You saw him on the sideline. Mike Evans is trying to calm him down. There were a couple of players out there. I think O.J. Howard was trying to calm him down and say, "Hey, man, calm down. Let's work through this thing together." And he didn't want to hear any of it. So, there comes a time at a point in time when you have great production, the problems will get overlooked. You know how that works in professional sports. When the problems start to outweigh the production, that's when you're going to get fired. That's when they're going to say, "Hey, we don't want you around here anymore." But the bottom line is that guy is still productive, and they were still trying to make things work. So I'm sure people have reached out to him multiple times. This is where I'm saying, hey, listen, if you keep making the same mistake over and over and over again, like at some point, you don't get it. At some point, I have to think that you're smart enough, you're intelligent enough. If you're intelligent enough to understand routes and route combinations and adjustments to coverage and all that stuff, then you're intelligent enough to understand, hey, you're not going to get another opportunity. Hey, you got to, keep your nose clean. And if you keep falling back into the same, habitual actions, then there must be something deeper going on, mentally deeper. I got that. And again, listen, my first inclination is just to point to a guy and say, what a turd. But, I've done that for the last 6 years. And now I'm just like, there's something wrong here. And I feel for him. I feel like this is a path of destruction that I hope he gets, I hope he gets on the right path, because it's kind of one of those paths of destruction that there's no turn back from. And so I hope he gets the help he needs, because he certainly is not right based on what we've seen the last few years.
Well, as it pertains to actual football, he's had issues within the team, all the things that Rick mentioned, but he also has off the field issues as well. So it becomes a point where what is it that you're bringing of value to the team? How talented are you? As you mentioned, does the talent outweigh the issues? Well, this is him actually quitting in the middle of a game. There's a lot of conversation about what actually happened. What was the conversation between Bruce Arians? Did he tell him he needed to go in and he was too hurt to go back in? So is Bruce Arians responsible? Like I'm going to side with consistent character. I don't believe, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't believe that Bruce Arians meant for Antonio Brown to take off of his jersey, throw things into the stands, and walk out in the middle of the game. I don't believe that Tom Brady...
Yeah, I was just going to say, if your ankle is really injured and you can rip off your jersey and take off your shirt and then bounce through the end zone, jumping up and down and, trotting across okay, well, that doesn't seem like that you really had an ankle injury.
I feel like everyone's just looking for an excuse for why he is behaving this way, because it is outrageous. But when you look at the history of Antonio Brown, it's not surprising at all. And yes, we all feel like this is a mental health situation, because none of us would do this. None of us would behave that way. If our bosses told us to get out of the office, we wouldn't then go smashing things down the hallway and walk out the front door. We would take a moment, albeit upset and rightfully so, and discuss it and have a conversation about it later. So this is not normal behavior. But at the end of the day, why are we talking about this? Because Antonio Brown's in the NFL. He was a part of the team. So how many chances you continue to get when you do this, organization after organization, coach after coach, teammate after teammate, saying we really hope he needs help? Is there anyone not trying to help him?
Right.
Joy, here's the thing. None of us would go smashing our way out of the office if a higher up had something to say to us. But that's because we've never done that and gotten away with it. Antonio Brown has. I gave you the list of all the things that he's done that were unprecedented and that were damaging to his team, if not from a strictly X's and O's standpoint, simply the culture of the teams that he played for. And they overcame them, and they accepted them, and they ultimately allowed them. So while I look at him taking off his jersey and doing what he did, and as everybody has said, I've never seen that before. Bruce Arians said, I've never seen that before in all of my time in football. But it's only the latest thing that Antonio Brown has done that we had never previously seen in football. So I don't look at that and say, man, there must really be something wrong with Antonio Brown. I look at it and go, he's still the same Antonio Brown. And my issue is at this point, now that he's probably most likely driven himself out of the NFL and is not going to get another opportunity, everybody's kind of jumping to he really needs help. Well, were we saying that after the Facebook Live? Were we saying that after he posted the IG, the fine by Mike Mayock? Were we saying that after he did the private conversation with John Gruden and put it out there? I don't remember people suddenly going, hey, you know what? We need to stop. He needs to not play. He needs some guidance. He needs some mental health help. Like, no, we accepted it as part of the Antonio Brown show. And so maybe there is something wrong. I'm not dismissing that. But I can't immediately go to that because I look at all of these things off the court, off the field in particular, and they're just, it looks like petulance. It looks like wild immaturity rather than somebody who's willing to gamble with their career because they don't think it's a gamble, because they think I'm always going to get another chance. So I can act out and my talent will carry me. That's what I see Antonio Brown doing time after time, and he has reason to do it because up until this point, it has worked.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you get opportunity after opportunity based solely on talent. As Mark said earlier, when the problems start outweighing the talent, you're going to end up in this situation. And he got another opportunity once again after messing up and getting suspended once again with this team. So it shouldn't be terribly surprising that this is how he's behaving again.